abuse, reflection and manifestation. In the past 5 months I have had the opportunity to understand many aspects of life in which most would think I should have come to know years ago considering my age. Life has its way of moving and progressing for the individual based upon their destiny, as well as their environment being suppressed or suppressed with particular elements of experiences holding activating principles of humanity, as well as matters advancing towards actions opposing humanity perceived as inhumane according to what is deemed as virtuousness. What was found is those who have suffered some form of abuse have become that which has abused them, according to the thinking and behavior of those whom abused them. They have in time become a manifestation of their abuse. It is commonly and carelessly said, hurt people, as this is not discredited in this arrangement, but there are many living this day as myself who have suffered through years of emotional and psychological abuse, as well as those who have suffered through physical abuse, coupled with all of which was mentioned, and still have not become what was understood as cruelty against the humanity of the abused. This day and time, there are some who come to find out that they are equal as, if not more abusive than those who are charged to have abused them for a number of years, thought and felt to be cruel. In most cases, this comes from a place of where wounds inflicted have not been effectively healed inside for reasons either them feeling as though their abuse have not been addressed constructively for the sake of healing towards a resolution, or what they suffered in the past that they assert was abuse, cruelty. Their subconscious mind has convinced their consciousness that what was done to them was correct, despite if the actions towards them was wrong when they reflect upon what transpired against their lives. There are also feelings of abandonment, which causes some to abandon their own righteous principles of what is right and thus become who have abandoned them in another form of being. The affair of parental abandonment has a very powerful impact upon the mind and expresses itself in very intense, abundant forms which could be violent either physically, verbally, emotionally and therefore psychologically. Most of the time many are forced to live in a stagnant state of existence because of the parent refusing to talk about matters for the sake of the child understanding of why they were abandoned. The parents' refusal to face the issue because of having to face themselves and what they did and did not do. Even if they remain to be disappointing of the answer, they will forever need and have the right to know why they were abandoned and left to cruel conditions for a number of years, suffering abusive conditions that were unprovoked by any actions or words of their own. If these conditions are understood as abusive, then the abused should understand the immorality of what was done to them and to never manifest it to inflict what they have suffered upon anyone else despite the situation. Reflection must become a crucial time if this is never to be passed on as efficient. It must be morally condemned. There are plenty of human beings who have been abused and will share with everyone that what transpired against them was wrong, and in their outlook and actions towards others, when a challenging time arises, perform the same cruelty which was done to them but in a different form of action. If what was done to you is understood as wrong, and then during your living experience one reacts towards someone in the same manner of which was done to you, then it is obvious that you feel what was done to you, which you assert was abuse, was correct. Because you are executing it towards someone else, claiming that what you are doing is the right action after you're saying what was done to you was wrong. There has to become a time of when one humbles themselves sufficiently enough to reflect upon their own actions towards someone else according to righteous action, in opposed to unrighteous actions submitted against them in the past, without deliberately admitting that what they are doing is wrong. It's a practical form of self-observation. To refuse to inquire within, to face one's own inner turmoil which has altered their discernment of humanness, only manifest a human being who has lost their understanding of what compassion truly is and only become what they claimed harmed them. David Anthony Brayboy. In this living experience, we survive these kind of disturbances not to become that which has disturbed us, but to rise above what has tried to destroy our inner soul. We are here to evolve. We are survivors because we learned from these times in recognition of what was in fact wrong, so that we will never carry forth these harsh, cruel fundamentals into further generations, creating other angry and therefore altered human beings who will only do unto others what was done to them. Each human being, when we come in contact with them, are equated to a vulnerable child without knowing what they are getting ready to face at the given moment. Age has nothing to do with anything when it comes to how we treat one another. We create children out here in this society in more ways than we realize, other than the physical. If I were to come up to a man or woman and suddenly abuse their flesh, their mind and their spirit, and walk away, and they walk away from me, and they do what was done to them, then that is an abused child that I am guilty of creating because of my violating their peace of mind and spirit, simply because of my feeling inside that what was done to me was not right, however deeper from within a dark place. Acting out what was done to my mind and spirit against someone else as if it was correct reveals itself a much deeper matter that needs to be faced and resolved within. It has become to many fictitious propaganda when it is said, "We are all upon this earth for the sake of helping one another." I find that the implied principle means that we are not here to harm one another further than how we have been harmed formerly, but to currently assist in our healing of the past abuses, so that the world in which we live in is able to manifest better, activating societies according to human relationships. Be a factor of help creating better human beings, and not angry and abusive human beings because of not being able to recognize your own state of mind as abusive despite who abused you, is critical to this society. Reflect upon what happened to you. Understand that what was done was wrong against not only you, but humanity as a whole, and decide in all of your thinking and actions, never to manifest to the world against others what was manifested against your peace of mind. Otherwise, you have no right to say that you were abused or abandoned. David Anthony Brayboy.